what are some of the things that the government does that are desirable for a free society? So we've already kind of talked about, having order, having, a system that protects individual rights. Anything else? Any further?
It's like national defense. National defense is one of the key elements because you've got to have your country safe from foreign attack, and that's key. I mentioned the police, obviously. Just order. You don't, when you load up a truck out in front of your business, you want it to get to where it's going. You don't want it to be hijacked and have all the merchandise stolen.
Right.
You want airports to be adequate to handle air traffic because that facilitates commerce. You want the highways to be outstanding so commerce can move. So what government should do at its best is set a framework. A framework. But then, like Thomas Jefferson said, other than keeping us from hurting each other, let us do what we want to. And then people are energized to create businesses and to try to produce a better product. And we see that all the time. So government should set the framework. It should not get involved in the game.
Yeah, so it's pitting greed versus greed, right? So
really,
it acknowledges that, we act in our own self-interest. I mean, it just acknowledges that basic.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. There's not. That's, in fact, it's a virtue.
It is. As long as it's done within the legal framework.
Yes.
As long as it's ethical and legal, then when people act in their own self-interest, they benefit all of us.
Yeah. It's to our benefit that
Exactly.
Bill Gates worked in his own self-interest. In creating Microsoft, there may be some other stuff we don't like about it, but in creating Microsoft, I mean, just think about the productivity that he unlocked. I mean, I know you remember how it was typing papers. I never had that experience, but
I remember my first computer at SAU was an Apple IIe.
Yeah.
And they criticize people like Bill Gates and others who've made a lot of money, but most of their wealth is in their company.
Yeah.
And their company is the economic juggernaut that creates all the jobs and the benefits that we enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm afraid a lot of people bite the hand that feeds them without unknowingly.
Exactly.
Why is competition so important?
It's key.
Yeah.
None of us particularly like it.
Yeah.
But it's good for us because it causes us to work harder. People will stay up late at night trying to figure out how to make a better product or how to provide a better service or how to have their employees be more friendly to the customers that come in. And competition will basically weed out the inefficient, and it will it'll encourage the efficient. And I think that's why you see companies like Walmart, and you see companies like J.B. Hunt, and all of Apple Computer. That's why, because they have worked harder, they've been more efficient. All of the other companies dropped by the wayside, and we've all benefited.
Absolutely.
Now, I will say this, you have to be careful about monopolies. When one company controls the whole marketplace, that's not good because they will get fat and lazy in the middle.
Sure.
So we've got to keep competition moving.
I think it was Milton Friedman who even said one of his points is that most natural monopolies, there aren't very many natural monopolies, but the ones that do exist, a lot of times, are propped up by the government.
So just like AT&T, we thought it was a natural monopoly until we found out it wasn't.
Yeah.
We called it back in the day. We'd call it a natural monopoly, but it didn't have to be.
And that brings us. This wasn't in the questions, but one of the things is regulation and how that can stifle business. So maybe talk about that for a second.
If you send 1,000 bureaucrats to Washington and you tell them to regulate something, that's what they're going to do. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year. And that's just the way that works. You have to be really careful. We did a little video in front of the stoplight out here at US 7982, and that's a perfect example of government regulation. Because you pull up it keeps confusion from happening. But you can turn right, you can turn left, you can go straight. But if you go down there and put a sign, you can only go straight here, all of a sudden that has confused the flow of traffic. If you put a tax collector in the middle of it, taking $1 every time you come through, that's going to confuse. Decisions are going to change. So you want government to play the referee. Here are the rules, but we're not going to play the game with you. So many times government decides it wants to play the game. And when that happens, inefficiencies are serious.
Yeah, absolutely. Because and to me it's always a good example to show if the free market doesn't produce it, then why does the government need to try to jump in there and get it? A lot of times when they do that, they have to put so many onerous regulations on their competition, to keep them from being a fair competitor to them. So.
Well, and many times some of these government regulations, regulatory groups get controlled by business and industry, which then tries to make it work for their benefit. We've seen that happen before.
Oh, absolutely. That's why, lobbying is such a lucrative business, and businesses are incented to engage in it, as much as you can, because
it's in your best interest to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best investments you can make. I mean, it's unfortunate that we live in that kind of situation. It's a dirty game, but if you don't play it, you're the chump.
Get left behind.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Hopefully, though, those of us that do participate in it do it, for the right reasons.
It can
get the
certainly,
good things.
certainly. It's not all bad. It does provide information to people who are making decisions. But again, it can turn into a money game.
Yeah.